Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly opened talks over the possible sale of Richarlison, with Italian giants Juventus and Turkish powerhouse Fenerbahce leading the race to sign the Brazilian international during the summer transfer window. According to reports, Middlesbrough are making progress in negotiations to sign another Tottenham Hotspur player as they continue to strengthen their squad during the summer transfer window. Brighton and Hove Albion are reportedly considering an ambitious move for Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Lucas Bergvall, with the Seagulls keen to lure the highly rated Swedish youngster to the Amex Stadium during the summer transfer window. Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly entered discussions over the future of Christian Romero, with Inter Milan intensifying their efforts to sign the Argentine centre-back after making fresh contact with the North London club. And reports claim that Arsenal and Spurs are preparing to battle it out for the signature of RB Leipzig winger Antonio Nusa, with a highly rated Norway international attracting widespread interest after an eye-catching World Cup campaign. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. One final request: if you do get a spare moment, please do nominate and vote for us at the 2026 Football Content Awards. All of the details are below. Your support, as always, is really appreciated. Okay, let's get into it. Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly begun discussions over the potential sale of Brazilian forward Richarlison, with Juventus and Fenerbahce emerging as the leading contenders for his signature this summer. According to Caught Offside, Spurs are prepared to listen to offers in the region of 20 to 25 million euros, a figure significantly lower than the fee they paid to sign the striker from Everton in 2022. The report claims that Juventus are exploring a cut-price deal as they look to strengthen their attacking options, while Turkish giants Fenerbahce are also closely monitoring his situation. Both clubs are said to have held initial discussions as they assess whether a move for the Brazil international is financially viable. Richarlison has endured an inconsistent spell in North London, with injuries and fluctuating form preventing him from becoming a regular starter. Despite showing flashes of quality, the 29-year-old has struggled to cement his place, and Tottenham are now believed to be open to cashing in as Roberto De Zerbi continues to reshape his squad ahead of the new campaign. A departure would free up both wages and a squad place, potentially allowing Spurs to pursue further reinforcements before the transfer window closes. While no agreement has yet been reached with either interested clubs, negotiations are expected to continue in the coming days as Tottenham weigh up the best offer for the Brazilian forward. According to a report from Team Talk, Middlesbrough are progressing in talks to sign another Tottenham Hotspur player in this summer's transfer window. Middlesbrough already secured the signature of Will Lancashire, of course, but they are now pushing for a permanent move to sign defender Ashley Phillips. It's claimed that a permanent deal could cost in the region of £12 million, although the two clubs have discussed a potential loan deal for the defender. It remains to be seen whether the deal will eventually end up as a permanent or a loan, but either way it looks like Phillips could be heading to the Championship this summer. Interestingly, Phillips hasn't been named in Tottenham's pre-season squad that is heading to New Zealand and Australia in the coming days. De Zerbi named a squad of 35 players, so if there was any chance, you would think, of Phillips remaining at the club, he would likely be heading to Australia and New Zealand. A departure from Spurs on a permanent move feels like the right decision, probably, for Phillips at this time. The young defender has had multiple loans in the lower leagues now, and he's going to struggle to play at Tottenham after they signed both Marcos Senesi and Jan-Paul van Hecke in the summer window. Brighton and Hove Albion have emerged as surprise contenders in the race to sign Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Lucas Bergvall, with the Seagulls exploring the possibility of an ambitious summer move for the highly rated Sweden international. Team Talk reports that Brighton are closely monitoring the 20-year-old situation as they look to strengthen their midfield before the transfer window closes. Bergvall's future has become increasingly uncertain following Tottenham's major investment in the midfield this summer. The arrivals of Sandro Tonali and Matheus Fernandes have intensified competition for those places, leaving the young Swede concerned about his opportunities for regular first-team football. Despite growing interest from Brighton and several other clubs, Tottenham are reluctant to sanction a sale. However, Spurs have already rejected bids from Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, making it clear they value Bergvall highly and will only consider offers in the region of £50 million. The report suggests that Brighton believe they could offer Bergvall the consistent Premier League football he's seeking, but Tottenham now face a significant dilemma. While selling the midfielder would generate a substantial profit, Roberto De Zerbi must decide whether to cash in on one of the club's brightest young talents or keep faith with a player viewed as a key part of Spurs' long-term future. Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly opened discussions over the future of Christian Romero, with Inter Milan stepping up their pursuit of the Argentine defender following fresh contact between the two clubs. According to Give Me Sport, Spurs are now weighing up the possibility of selling their captain as interest from Serie A champions intensifies. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, in fact, claims that Tottenham are preparing for further talks with Romero after the World Cup, with all parties keen to resolve his future before the transfer window shuts. While Barcelona continue to admire the centre-back, Inter are currently leading the race after opening dialogue with the players' representatives. Although Tottenham are not actively pushing Romero out of the club, they are understood to be open to a deal if their valuation is met. Spurs have significantly strengthened their defence this summer, leaving Roberto De Zerbi with increased competition at centre-back and giving the club greater flexibility should Romero depart, something which, of course, we've not had. Despite the growing speculation, no agreement has yet been reached. However, negotiations are expected to continue over the coming days as Inter attempt to strike a deal for one of Europe's most sought-after defenders, while Tottenham consider whether to sanction another high-profile departure this summer. And the Sun claims that Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur are set to go head-to-head in the race to sign RB Leipzig winger Antonio Nusa, with a highly rated Norway international emerging as one of Europe's most sought-after young attackers following an impressive World Cup campaign. The 21-year-old is valued at around £51 million, with Leipzig reluctant to lower their asking price. Nusa enhanced his growing reputation during the tournament, scoring in Norway's round of 32 victory over Ivory Coast before featuring in the quarter-final defeat to England. His displays have attracted interest from a host of clubs across Europe, placing him firmly on the radar of both North London sides. Arsenal are reportedly assessing their attacking options before making a formal move, with the Gunners waiting to see if any other significant offers arrive for Gabriel Martinelli. Tottenham, meanwhile, are also keen on the winger, but are expected to trim their squad first, with the future of players such as Manor Solomon and Mikey Moore needing to be resolved before an official bid is launched. The Premier League duo are not alone in the chase, however. AC Milan and Roma have also held talks over a potential move, although Leipzig's valuation remains the biggest obstacle. With Nusa believed to be open to a fresh challenge, the battle for his signature is expected to intensify as the transfer window progresses. Okay, well, here's my thoughts on those stories today. Mainly exits, talking about exits, to be honest with you. Firstly, Richarlison there. I don't think this would probably come as a surprise to many people if Richarlison were to leave. Obviously, been at the club for a good few years now. Never really hit the heights that we wanted him to. I still think he's... I did worry at the time that his goal-scoring record in the Premier League was never prolific, and it's come to pass that it hasn't been. Look, there's always definitely been a place and time for Richarlison at this club. At the end of last season, I was saying that, if there was one player that I'd want on that pitch to fight and scrap like we had to do at the end of last season, it was Richarlison. And he had his moments, but let's be honest, I think most people will agree that it's probably time for Richarlison to leave. I think it would be a good move for him wherever he goes, to be honest with you. He didn't get in the Brazil squad for this summer's World Cup, of course. So, to be fair, Brazil could have probably done with him. They weren't particularly good, Brazil. But I just think for the player, I think for the club, I think it's probably time for him to move on. We all know we need to strengthen in that forward line, and it would make sense, especially at the age Richarlison is at now, to find a new challenge for the Brazilian and say thank you for your service, but probably about time to leave. But get down in the comments, let me know. Do you think Richarlison should be staying? Some of you may well do. Ashley Phillips never really... I wouldn't say had opportunities at Spurs, but never quite cut it, has he? A bit of a shame again. Came with high hopes, but had many loans, of course. And again, if this one comes to pass, going to Middlesbrough, obviously he knows Will Lancashire who's just gone there. So this could work out well for him and Spurs, to be honest with you. Obviously left out the squad that's going to New Zealand and Australia, so you would think this one goes through, or if this one doesn't, then Ashley Phillips will be heading out permanently, perhaps alone with an obligation to buy this summer, trimming the squad. Do you think that's a sensible decision for Ashley Phillips? And you don't want to be a nomad for the rest of your life. He's going to want to settle down and hopefully kickstart his career at a permanent club. Bergvall to Brighton would certainly be an interesting one. Again, I've said before about Bergvall, I think he's a phenomenal player, but how much game time is Bergvall going to get? Brighton, on the face of it, for me, would actually be a good move for Bergvall. I think Brighton is a really good club. He'd certainly get more minutes than you would think you'd be getting at Spurs this season, with Fernandes and Tonali coming in there, and obviously you've got Gallagher in there as well, Bentancur, who knows what's happening with Pat Matasar as well. So there's a lot of midfielders in there for Bergvall to compete with, whereas at Brighton he would probably play a lot of minutes and be one of the main men there. So I would imagine, Bergvall's come out pretty much and said that he would be happy to leave. I think if a fee gets agreed, if it's around the £50 million mark that the report says that Spurs want for the player, then I can see this happening. Again, it's sad because you need the squad. That's what it's all about, the squad, isn't it? But as I say, how are you going to keep all these players happy? You've got to move players on, and there's going to be some big departures this summer, and no more bigger probably than Christian Romero. Now we all expect as well Romero to leave. Of course, that's no secret since the end of the season. Romero quite clearly wants out Spurs, and if he does go back to Serie A, again, that could be a good league for him. I would imagine that Spurs will obviously want top dollar for him, but the way we've been doing business around centre-backs, again, it's not going to be a surprise that Romero leaves. Not going to be a surprise to anybody, is it? Let's face it. And I think for Christian Romero and the fans and the club, I think it's probably about time Romero leaves. It doesn't take long for players to get back on side with fans, and Romero's upset a few of it, obviously, hasn't he, with the end of season stuff when he was in Argentina and he should have been at that last game. It left a sour taste in your mouth, didn't it? And that relationship with the fans has deteriorated, definitely. But yeah, for me, again, Romero, I'm not going to cry tons of tears if Romero leaves. Been a good player for Spurs, but also been a liability, let's be honest, at times. And I never actually thought he was the right choice for captain as well. But again, a player that they're going to get good money for, and Spurs are bringing in, or going to be bringing in, a lot of money on player sales. But let's face it, it needs to happen. But there's one rumour out there of incomings, sort of fresh rumours, and that's that Tottenham are in for Nusa. I thought the player did have a good World Cup. He actually impressed me at the World Cup for Norway. Very good player, battling it out with Arsenal apparently for Nusa, although going to be a lot of interest around Europe for the player as well. Young winger. I would be all for this, actually. I think this would be a really good move for the player and for Spurs. It would be quite impressive as well to beat your North London rivals to another signature, which would be refreshing. But let's see how that goes. We've certainly got strengthening in that forward line. We all know that. What players are we going to bring in? Who knows? Been linked with a fair few, but it's kind of died down at the moment. Perhaps they're trying to get players out the door first. That would seem to be the case. But it does surprise me we haven't brought anybody in that forward line to go on the pre-season tour. That is a little bit worrying, but I'm actually confident. I wouldn't have been in previous transfer windows, but I'm actually confident now that Spurs are going to bring in one or two along that forward line to help Roberto De Zerbi before the transfer window shuts. But get down in the comments, let me know, what are your thoughts? What players would you like brought into that forward line? Would you like Nusa? I wouldn't be against it. That's all from me today. Get down in the comments, as I say, let me know how you're feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now. And as always, come on you Spurs.